Welcome back to Low Carbon Lifestyle. A couple of episodes ago, I had a conversation with my friend Sam about how he and his wife Min bought a second-hand electric vehicle. Just after we stopped filming, our friend Amy walked past, and Amy said, "Oh wow, you're filming about electric vehicles? I'd love to get an electric vehicle. I'm thinking of leasing one, but I don't know where to start." So, in this video, I'm going to take Amy on a little journey and see what options there might be for her to lease an electric vehicle. I'll speak to Amy about what her requirements are, what her mileage is, what kind of size car she wants, and we'll see if we can find her an EV to buy. My name is Tom, and this is a little series about a low carbon lifestyle. So, over to Amy.
Hi Amy, how you doing?
Hello.
So we're
How's it going?
going to talk electric vehicles a little bit here, but I've got some questions for you before we do that. I'm going to go away and have a look and see what I can find and see how much that might cost. But first of all, I need to know some stuff about you. So what kind of do you drive at the moment?
At the moment, I drive a Mazda 2, I think it's called. It's a little red car.
Great. And what kind of stuff do you do normally in a week with your Mazda 2? Do you do, how many miles you do? What kind of driving do you do?
I don't actually know exactly how many miles I do. Basically, I've tried for a while not to have a car, but given the job I do, I have tried like cycling and things within that, and it just is not possible. So unfortunately, I'm in one of those jobs where I very much do need a car.
Cool.
So I'm out probably every day. Sometimes I'm out like pinging about the city all day, but little short trips mainly. And then, if I fancy going on an adventure, then I'll use my car for that usually as well.
When regulations allow, always a beach trip
Yeah.
is going to be had. And you live in Cardiff, in the pretty much
I do.
Cardiff. Okay, this is good. Do you know roughly how many miles you might do per year?
10,000.
I mean, that's what everyone says, isn't it? Around.
No, I think on my insurance it's 6,000.
Okay.
Because I also like don't have to commute anymore, which I used to drive Durham to Hartlepool every day, and that was like loads of miles. So it's cut significantly. I'm going to say 6,000.
Okay, 6,000. So for 6,000 miles, you'd get a really cheap lease deal. So that's really interesting. So what I might do is try and go a little bit higher than that, so we're not under egging it. But so you're interested in leasing an electric vehicle, a brand spanking new one. So what I'll do, I'll have a look at the kind of if a Mazda 2 size is what you're looking for, or would you be up for a bit bigger than that, or that kind of thing?
No, so yeah, when I've looked before, I mean, I'm really glad for the help, because actually because I've never leased a car, my family's never leased a car, none of us really know what we're doing, and my friends who have just say, oh yeah, you just go to the dealer, so I'm just a bit clueless. Even though I've tried to do some research, I'm still like not really understanding what's going on. So but when I have looked, they've been big cars, and that kind of scares me.
Yes.
So I still want enough that you can fit a good amount of camping kit in, and some kids when I need to do that, but not a big car.
Sure, got you.
I don't know if it's helpful to know as well, like the reasons why I am wanting to lease an electric car. But like as I said, I've been trying to find a way to do my job without using a car, and have come to the conclusion that that's unfortunately not possible. All that time of commuting and having to use my car and having to, like ping about the city, doing small journeys as well in a car has been annoying me. And like every time I put petrol into my car, it's like my least favorite thing ever, because I'm just like, oh my gosh, like all of this carbon, you know the drill. So, but at the same time, I don't think I have enough money to buy like a brand new, I definitely don't have enough money to buy a brand new electric car. I don't think I have enough money to buy a secondhand electric car, because like I'm still in my mid 20s and 25. So yeah, don't have the kind of resources to do that, but still want to be part of the low carbon transition. So I've got electric charging points near my house, which make it possible. Because again, like I don't have a driveway, I'm in a rented property. I've just got like on street parking, not even right outside my house. So lots and lots of things that I thought were going to mean I couldn't have an electric car until my dad had this brainwave that I could lease one. And then
Amazing.
it's kind of all fallen into place from there. And I've been like, why didn't I think of this before? But yeah, that is kind of why I'm looking to lease an electric car. And hopefully, if it works for me, then it probably can work for anyone my age.
Yeah,
And
sure. So we'll see. Let's have a look and we'll see what we can find. And if you're up for chatting again at another point, we'll do some feedback and we'll see what we can get.
So before we get into this, what is a lease? Well, for leasing, you're basically renting a car long term. A lease company buys the whole car for you. They do some betting on how much the car would be worth in kind of 3 years' time. 3 years having driven 24,000 miles, because you said how much you're going to drive each year. And they'll guess it will have depreciated by this much, and that they could sell it for that much. They put some interest on that finance or that loan, and they would make a little bit of money out of you. But leasing is actually probably a fairly low risk / low cost to drive a brand new EV. Drive, not buy. It's probably a fairly affordable way for people who like new cars and who like to drive new cars. I'm sure it's not for everyone. There are other options, so you could finance a car where you basically buy the car yourself, but you rely on getting a big loan to do that. You keep the value of the car after you've paid off the loan, but you'd also have the liability of the car as it gets older. And you'd have to pay for the car in full, not just the first 3 years of its life. So it could work out much more expensive. But then actually, if it's worth more than the lease company thought it would be, you might make a bit more money when you sell it on. And then there's a halfway house called a PCP, or a personal contract purchase, which starts to get a little bit more dark arts again, where you have the option to pay a balloon payment at the end of the deal to own the car itself. It's a bit like a lease, but you're a little bit closer to owning the car. Okay, so we've heard from Amy. I'm going to go straight to Ecosia and we'll see what we can find. The first website I'm going to look at is Carwow, which is basically like a car comparison website, and it gives you, it helps link you up with a dealer on certain lease deals. Straight away, we're starting. It's a small car, but you could get a smart EV for £164 a month at 8,000 miles per year. Interesting. What else can we find? Okay, so I've put in some kind of ideas for what Amy might be interested in. First of all, a body type of a car. So she wants a smallish car like the Mazda 2. So hatchbacks. I put in saloons and coupes too, just to get rid of the SUVs, the estate cars, people carriers, all that kind of stuff. We don't need to look at those. Carwow says there's 42 cars that might be applicable here. Renault Zoe, I think, would be a great idea for Amy, and that says it's starting from £187 a month. I suspect that'd be quite a low lease number of miles, but interesting. Again, the Peugeot E-208, good car, a bit more, but starting from £245 a month. Other than that, the Nissan Leaf, the classic, the brand new one, perfect new EV, £201 a month. Mini electric, interesting, £242 a month. The Seat Me, which is actually similar to the VW E-Up and I think there's a Skoda as well, it's like that. £210 a month, tiny little car, pretty cool little car. The Kia Soul for almost £300 a month. The Corsa-E, the Vauxhall Corsa-E, which I think is a good car, £177 a month. BMW i3, interesting, £271. Honda E, really cool, snazzy looking car, from £284. The very, very efficient Hyundai Ioniq from £276. Yeah, there's the E-Up for £200. The Fiat 500 electric for £197. The VW ID3 from £280. And then I think we're probably getting a little bit too big for the rest of these cars here. Even the E-Niro is probably a bit big. Okay, so I think that the Zoe, the E-208, the Leaf, and the Corsa-E, they're the 4 cars I'm going to look at in detail.
Okay, back to the start on Carwow, and let's have a look at the Vauxhall Corsa-E. What can we get for the Corsa? There's always a couple of options to choose from. We'll go for the most basic version to begin with, and Amy can kind of add things on when she actually comes to looking at the car. One option on the engine. Don't mind what colour it is. I'm sure Amy does. Carwow, and I'll get some offers for that. Okay, let's get some offers for the Nissan Leaf as well. So you could get the EV200 that Refuse has got, but let's get the bog standard Nissan Leaf, the Ascenta again. 40 kilowatt hour battery. Don't mind the colour. Flame red sounds good though, doesn't it? And we'll get some offers for the Nissan Leaf too.
Okay, so here's what I found out. I think the Peugeot E-208 is still a bit expensive, and the Corsa-E, again, a bit expensive. But we could get a Nissan Leaf on a 3-year lease with a 3-month upfront payment, doing 8,000 miles a year for about £235 a month. So that initial payment would be about £706. Nissan Leaf would do the job. Really, really good car. It's actually probably more of a family car than a little run around like Amy's Mazda 2. But it would do the job. Or you could get a Renault Zoe. So let's just put in the same figures for this. So a Renault Zoe will probably do about 250 miles on a charge. It's pretty impressive. It's a bit of a smaller car, but again, should meet all of Amy's needs. 3-year term, 3-year lease, 3 months up front, 8,000 miles per year. You could get this for £226 per month. £679 initial payment. If you went up to 10,000 miles a year, and that's kind of what everyone says they do, isn't it? 10,000 miles. That'd be £236 per month. This is kind of reasonable. When I first got a car, age 18, gap year, Seat Ibiza S Cool, great car. My mum said to me something along the lines of, and she's a very wise woman, that you're pretty much always skint when you own a car. Cars are expensive to own. They're expensive to run, particularly fossil fuel ones. And a lease of a car is no different. Even with these fairly cheap deals, they cost about £3,000 per year. It does the job. It serves a purpose, but it is a big cost. A second-hand car that we talked about a couple of episodes ago would normally come in a lot cheaper, but then you risk issues to do with maintenance as the car gets older. A second-hand EV like Mim and Sam got might be a bit more expensive to buy, but should have really low maintenance costs. So, if you want to get an electric vehicle and you don't have loads of cash lying around, a lease may well be a good option. And this is by no means financial advice, but if you really want one, why don't you look into it? Okay, so we've seen some cars and we've seen that there's some interesting deals out there. Next up, let's have a look near where Amy lives to see if there is much charging available. She's not got off-street parking, so she can't have her own charge point. But I hope that we'll see on Zap Map there's lots of charging in Cardiff city centre.
One of the things that people always say about electric vehicle charging is that there isn't enough. I mean, just look at that Zap Map there. Go and have a look, have a play, and go and look near where you live. We've put in Amy's address, which is pretty much central Cardiff. And straight away you can see there's a few charge points nearby. Swarco eConnect, which is right next to her house. There's 2 7-kilowatt chargers that will charge at 31 pence per kilowatt hour. Okay, so we'll work out how much that will cost to charge. Swarco's actually got charge points all over Amy's neighbourhood. Nearby there's a rapid charger by Genie. That'll probably cost a little bit more to charge at. What is it? 35p if you're a registered Genie point driver, or 39p if not. Okay, we can't charge there. Let's see what we can get that's free to use in the area. Nothing nearby. Oh, hang on a minute. There's one at the Tesco Superstore in Penarth. So maybe if Amy ever went there, she could plug in while she shopped and get it for free from Tesco. That'd be nice. Okay, also nearby, you've got some rapid chargers. The Osprey one, we used Osprey in Alnwick. 35p per kilowatt hour. Some more Ospreys. IKEA has got a charger. It's ecotricity, 30p per kilowatt hour. Interesting. There's the Tesco one again. There's another Tesco one, the other side of the city. So maybe if Amy's out and about with work, she could go there. And then obviously you've got the ecotricity super high. Is it super highway? Whatever the motorway version is. 30 pence per kilowatt hour.
So based on those cars, a Leaf and a Zoe, what is the fuel saving? If Amy does about 8,000 miles a year, and those cars could do about 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which I'm pretty certain about, then Amy would need about 2,000 kilowatt hours of electricity per year. 2 megawatt hours of electricity sounds like a lot. If she charges at those Swarco charge points near her home most of the time, it costs her 31 pence per kilowatt hour, then it costs about £620 to fuel the car for a year, about 13 pence a mile. And if you drove for work and got expenses, that's not bad. A brand new lease car shouldn't need much in terms of maintenance, so just insurance to pay on top of that, which should just be similar to a petrol car. If Amy did the same miles in her Mazda 2, that from what I can tell does about 45 miles per gallon, it would cost her about £950 in fuel. So a saving of £330-ish in fuel each year. And that's almost 1.5 months worth of lease, which is pretty cool. And people often say that you can't really make any saving if you charge in the public and you don't charge at home. But £330 a year isn't that bad. If Amy did want cheaper fueling, there are cheaper options than the Swarco charger fairly nearby. She could go to the Tesco, the big Tesco in Penarth, which is about 4 miles away. So a 2 kilowatt hour round trip. And she could do a big shop there, fill up about 7 kilowatt hours per hour, or a 7 kilowatt charger, and charge for free. So not bad. If you're there for an hour, you'd get about 28 miles of range for free. If at some point in the future she was able to charge at home, which we heard earlier she couldn't do at the moment, she might be able to charge for about 15 pence per kilowatt hour. And that could cost about £300 for the whole year of driving. That would be saving like 3 months worth of lease just on fuel. So I think the case is there to say that driving an electric vehicle can often be cheaper than driving a petrol one. It doesn't pay for the lease, but it helps. So the two cars that I looked at in detail and I think that would be suitable for Amy and fairly cheap are the Renault Zoe and the Nissan Leaf. On a 3-year lease with 3 months up front and an 8,000 mile a year limit, both of these would be less than £250 per month. It's a lot of money, but that's how much it costs to lease. You could get a wide range of cars for just over £300. So there are more options if Amy didn't fancy a Zoe or a Leaf, and that's at least through Carwow. And it seems to me pretty clear that if you had a bit of disposable income, you could be driving a brand new electric vehicle for not an outrageous amount of money. If I was going to think about the next steps for this, that would be to go and book a test drive at a Renault garage nearby. I'd test drive a Renault Zoe, I'd see what it feels like, I'd see what deals they could do locally on a lease. They may even be able to throw in some extras with the deal, you never know. People tend to say that if you go to a garage near the end of a month or the end of a quarter, that's the best way to get deals from a car dealership. Because it might be that they have some targets they have to meet by the end of that time. So you never know. Why don't you try it? I think a Renault Zoe would be the perfect car for Amy. Really efficient, really good little car. Okay, that's all I've got prepared for today. I hope it was a helpful video in talking through the kind of costs it might be to lease a brand new electric vehicle. I don't have loads of experience of leasing, so there may be some better approaches than what I've talked through today. Please do comment below with any good deals that you've seen on electric vehicles recently. And if you've leased vehicles before, why don't you lease an electric vehicle next? Thanks so much for watching. That may well be my last video in this series about cars. Maybe I'll do one more, I'm not sure. Hopefully we'll be back next week with another video talking about moving to a low carbon lifestyle. Let's keep fossil fuels where they belong, in the ground or in a museum.